This is the battle we have dreaded and prayed for, my brother. We must take control of the Cosmodrome from the Chinese and the Americans. The missiles there will serve a feast of deadly toxin on our enemies and start the true liberation of the world. My general, this is our destiny.
All personnel proceed to Base 4 stations. Repeat, all personnel proceed to Base 4 stations. Soyuz engine, warm-up initiated. Temperature
That is the vessel that will carry our message. They have prepared it for launch. We must strike swiftly if we are to capture it. Today, we will meet our destiny.
The launch facility is heavily defended. We will have to hit them with everything we have.
Welcome back, General. Apologies for some of the fade-outs or fade-ins. This level's actually tough, unlike the previous one. There's a lot of trying to figure out what tactics work well and what you kind of need to do. Unfortunately, you're always kind of rushed in how you have to react to everything, basically.
Our work is complete. What do you want with me? This hammer is heavy. Ready for war.
The bare essentials are that you definitely need to get your income set up, and then once that's done, having lots of defenses. For the probably first half of this mission, you're basically on the defensive. You're not told this, it's not explicit, but you will be. We can already see on the map and in the cutscene that this is a mission that concerns both the US and Chinese forces. So you need to expect that you'll be fighting both kinds, obviously. And they bring their own unique problems with them.
If that is what you want.
It's already been seen in the Chinese campaign. We have a good idea as to what their forces are, how they sort of behave, and what we should sort of expect either on the defensive or on the offensive. And you definitely need things to counter that. So Stinger sites become very important, the US forces even more so, and you're going to need to have some form of mobile force. Stinger sites are nice and all, and tunnel networks are at least utilitarian, but, well, tunnel networks aren't really good against infantry. So you kind of need to supplement your Stinger sites with the quad guns. And to protect the quad guns, you need to have tanks.
Oh, okay, I will work.
So your defensive setup is always a little bit more involved, shall we say.
Oh, okay, I will work. Does it have to be so far?
There's a few things I could potentially have changed, like getting, say, angry mobs. That would have probably helped, at least in terms against smaller offensive thrusts by the AI. But I don't know. There's something about any mission that isn't like a urban center where you're just kind of destroying stuff really quickly, that I don't really feel like I need to use mobs for, regular base defense, I guess. It's probably a bad way to look at it because, well, angry mobs are good. So
I hear you.
I have to also admit, I've kind of fallen off on the Marauder tank.
Preparing my tool.
I just don't really see how useful it is.
I will slip in. No one
Like, I'd
escapes.
rather just have normal Scorpion tanks than Marauders.
I hear you. New spotting position.
Scorpion.
No one
ready to sting.
escapes. I hear you. Preparing my tools. Indeed.
I am
I move in
finished
the
already.
shadows.
Yes. Does it have to be so far?
I think I must have played this, I don't know, probably for about an hour and a half, 2 hours, just trying to get a good run going,
Escapes.
and eventually just ended up merging several runs together, like I usually do,
Waiting.
just because I don't really feel like playing or replaying a mission from the start whenever things go bad, so
Preparing my tools.
just kind of a thing I've gotten used to over the years.
No one escapes.
So German Kell's basically here just to sort of scout the area and show off what I kind of need to be looking for or looking at. I tried at least, I think, 2 occasions where I focused more on the US forces and tried to take them out first, and I feel like that's kind of the wrong way to go about it.
I
While
hear
the U.S. Obviously is a powerful faction, where it's not necessarily the Chinese faction is better or worse. It's more that when it comes to attacking your base, Gatling tanks
I am
and
waiting.
Overlord
Who's the
tanks
target? Pick him off.
are more annoying to deal with.
No one escapes. I hear you. I hear.
Now, because of the way that the map is built, it's kind of hard to get German Kell up on the left side. You can also see that him using his snipe ability renders him vulnerable, or at least visible, and then being able to be shot, which kind of sucks. And
Indeed.
yeah, I don't know. I just don't use German Kell that much. It's a nice hero unit to have. The ability to essentially neutralize an Overlord tank and let you capture it is
No one escapes.
super powerful. But
Preparing my tools.
when German Kell's always under fire, it kind of
Try
sucks.
to hurry.
I hear you. Indeed. Preparing my tools. Not a challenge. New spotting position. Indeed.
Now, basically, what I'm looking for is a path into the Chinese base, so I can then figure out where I want to drop explosives or potentially attack.
Take long.
A
Or-
warrior has fallen.
Again, this is sort of the problem with German Kell, and also versus other snipers, which are an amazing counter against them. Just have 2 snipers and German Kell will never win. And German Kell costs like $2,000 versus Pathfinders, which I think are $800. I forget. But in any case,
What?
you never...
Don't push me.
Like, I don't know how you wouldn't get utility out of Pathfinders, so... It's also rather frustrating because my bases, or my buildings, all seem to not have the range to fight against Red Guard or Gatling cannons. Or tanks, I should say. I'm fine with them not being able to hit Gatling tanks, but, when Red Guards just kind of blink at you forever, it kind of just sucks. And now we kind of see one of the bigger frustrations of the level. This didn't happen in the last Air Force dominated mission that we were up against when we were playing as GLA. but it's very problematic. So the stealth fighter essentially doesn't show itself until it shoots, which means it's invisible until something happens. This can be extremely frustrating because, well, they can essentially snipe stinger sites without you being able to respond. There will be a counter to this eventually, just not in generals, which sucks. I'm also quite lucky that the Chinese base doesn't really have much in the way of anti-air. So throwing an anthrax bomb doesn't really...
Do not I will obey.
It's not really countered by anything.
Things cannot fit there.
Don't get on my bad side.
There's also some problems with the truck bomb. I'm pretty sure we've already seen it before. Getting too close to detector units does end up revealing the truck bomb, so you can't use it, which is a little frustrating. You also can't use scud storms on in areas that you haven't actually discovered yet.
Our will is strong.
And, well, the train is still a neutral
Toxin shells upgrade quad cannon.
portion of this game.
It's a lot of work.
I'll get there.
As mentioned before, with the Chinese nuclear strike, the nuke is worse than scud storms because nuke is a one-time, applies its damage, and then it's over. Whereas scud storm, because it hits in a, I don't want to say a wider area, but because it hits multiple times, it's better against especially GLA structures and anything you would expect to last a long time. Also, unfortunately for me, one, didn't account for radiation to still be lingering, and two, the train got it.
I'm just a peasant. What do you want?
A warrior has fallen.
I hope this also gives a good idea as to how much pressure you're always under and why you desperately need to have money at all times just so that you can build.
I will go. I will do what I must.
A warrior has fallen.
It's more frustrating as well just because even though some buildings have been destroyed, they still linger. So you can never truly get away from blind spots or saturating an area with more defenses.
I will do my best.
There is a potential, at least to a degree, to say, well, what if I built more closer to the choke points where the trains are? The problem with that is just that you're very far away from your base, so you kind of have to split off your production more than it already is.
Quad cannon.
I'm hungry. That was a lot of work.
I also need to be very careful about everything that's going on, just because the Chinese are employing cluster mines, so if I'm not careful, I will be driving into those.
Okay. General,
Our landing being attacked! I'll get there.
Cannot we live in peace? I'm hungry. Do not hurt me. I will obey. You change your mind
I'll
often.
puncture the next thing that moves.
A warrior has fallen.
Get on my bad side. Quad cannon.
Oh, also, the stealth fighters do area damage, so sometimes you just lose 3 Scorpion tanks for free, which is also frustrating.
Yes.
What do you want?
We've already seen it before. It's very hard to say, well, why not just have a radar van in the front, have it spot, etc., etc. And the problem always ends up being that by having a radar van up front, it becomes vulnerable. So if something happens and it gets shot at, you're not going to protect it, it's going to die, and then you have to redo everything all over again.
This is just work. I will try to hurry. I will finish with the...
General, a sky storm has been launched.
And since we want to prevent the Chinese faction from being able to use the nuclear missile, we're just going to destroy all its power. They've been devoting a lot of funds to rebuilding their base over and over again, so at some point, hopefully, they should just run out of money.
One is one.
Oh, okay, I will work.
We will not be oppressed. We will not be hindered. 1, 2, 3. Don't push me. Watch it. Let's fight. What? Don't push me.
Do not push me.
One is one.
I'll try to see my hole. I'll fight in an attack. What? Don't push me.
Oh, okay, I will work. What do you want me to do? I will do the best I can.
What? I'll get there.
Yes. I will try to...
One is one.
Have I mentioned that a building under construction does not provide a refund if it's destroyed? So, you know, that's happened like 4 times now. I think at least once on a Scud Storm, so oops.
Let's fight. The higher order, down in.
Let us see if they are two.
Come on, it's okay.
I'm sure I could say, oh, you know, what if I captured the nuclear silo? Well, GLA doesn't use power. If you've never noticed, there's no power building for GLA, so you kind of end up just screwing yourself by having a building that immediately is unpowered and can't be used. I guess the argument could be to sell it, but at a certain point it's just more work than is really worth.
Yes, yes.
Let us see what they are up to.
General, a Scud Storm has been launched.
I think one of the more annoying things about getting many super weapons in the campaign is that you kind of have to constantly toggle the superpower button. Also, superpowers are super abusive and strong.
A warrior has fallen.
Our day has come.
And sadly, I just didn't have enough units. I should have spawned them on the left side, but I just didn't have enough units to take out
I'll get there.
their income buildings.
I do not have patience for this.
Building construction has been...
You can probably imagine how once the buildings are finally destroyed, I shouldn't have much of an issue being able to advance towards the Cosmodrome and taking that out. I'm not sure if I've ever mentioned it, but getting cash bounty is definitely one of the things you should always be investing in as a GLA player.
This is hard.
I can't really see an argument against it. Essentially, you're getting money back for, or you're getting money for every kill you make. I believe it's just against units. I don't think it applies to buildings. I haven't seen anything in the wiki that says otherwise.
Scorpion.
And the ability itself just says units. So essentially, level 3 of cash bounty is 20% of the cost of the unit you've destroyed.
Get on my bad side.
This doesn't apply to Jarman Kell, in the sense that if you use his ability to snipe the driver, you don't get that money. But you can see how a unit, like a aircraft,
What do you want?
essentially,
This hammer is...
I don't know, $1,200, $2,000, depending on the aircraft, etc. Taking those out with a pair of quad cannons is a great return on investment.
Work is complete.
And because the U.S. is kind of more of a hands-off faction in this mission,
I do not have patience for this.
it just ends up paying for itself really quickly.
I do not have patience for this.
Scorpion, ready to sting.
What?
Our will is strong.
4 on the floor. Don't push me. Huh?
It's been a long time since I played Zero Hour, so hopefully I don't have it wrong. I'm pretty sure that they fixed the issue with having to literally continuously select the individual Scud Storms you want to use when you're using them. I'm pretty sure they pop it out as a like the general power thing on the right.
Four on the floor. Don't get on my bad side.
Also, Tomahawk missiles are like super abusive, and I hate them. They're like very strong when used by the AI.
What? Four on the floor.
Tomahawk missiles are probably one of the stronger artillery units, if only because the time it takes to shoot is very low, and they're faster than both the Scud launcher, and I think they're comparable to the Inferno cannon. They're probably a little bit faster. And, well, the nuke cannon is kind of a joke compared to it.
Quad cannon. Don't get on my bad side. Punch it. Quad cannon. They are brittle. Quad cannon. Begin stitching. Punch it. Yes, yes.
Sadly, unlike the last mission, the AI doesn't decide to just sell everything and bum rush your base if you actually destroy everything. It doesn't help that I believe I have to capture a couple buildings as well, so having not remembered that right now, it'll play into it later. It's not a game-breaking thing or anything, it's just, you know, could have been done a little bit faster, I think. Also, for some reason, there's a Chinese propaganda center there. I don't really get it.
Yes, yes.
Also, the explosive radius of a Scud Storm is larger than its icon on the map, which is a little frustrating. Also, yeah, you just saw a GI snipe a building full of rebels because they had half a second to switch to flashbang and then specifically target the building my guys were in. If there's anything to be said about the AI's ability to perform actions, it's probably something close to that. A Battlemaster being able to essentially drive around and crush everybody in like a 24-unit rebel ambush group, that also sucks.
I will do my best.
These bunkers are probably one of the weirdest ways that units sometimes interact with the map. Because they're placed in a very like thin location, sometimes they just jettison units out the bottom, which I don't believe is something that's supposed to happen.
General, a Scud Storm has been launched.
I will do my best. Our will is strong.
Let's fight! We will not be oppressed! Our courage will be seen by all. Our way is through. Take it by force.
The light tank of the GLA. I will do this.
No cost is too great!
There's something about rocket buggies and how after they're upgraded, they kind of just like look goofy, like out of place with how big the rocket holders are.
Courage will be seen by all. Prepare to fight.
Scorpion.
Also, apparently I kept misclicking, and so I haven't captured any buildings yet.
Infidel.
Let's kick up some dirt. Let's kick up some dirt.
We have captured the building. The building belongs to us now. Baikonur is ours.
This day will be a glorious one.